Why you're healing is making you a narcissist. You're healing, yet you're more self-absorbed, thin-skinned, and lonely. You can name every trigger, but still melt down on Tuesday. Pop shadow work often rewards analysis over integration, so your ego gets smarter without getting kinder. Here's the shortcut. Why popular shadow work inflates ego, the brain loops behind it, and a practical path to real integration others can feel. Stay for 3 signs you're healing is making you narcissistic, and the antidotes. Before we fix it, we need to see how the concept got twisted. What Jung actually meant versus pop shadow work. If you've ever thought, I'm doing shadow work, so why am I harder to be around? It's not you, it's the frame. Misreading Jung invites self-focus and even moral exemption. When owning, a trait becomes a badge, not a responsibility. The point isn't to collect edgy adjectives. It's to integrate disowned parts, so your behavior gets more whole in real life. So what did Jung actually mean by shadow? Not a bucket of bad stuff. The shadow is the set of traits, impulses, and potentials you've pushed outside your conscious identity, often because they threatened your self-image or got punished in your family or culture. That means nice people often disown anger and dominance, while tough people disown need, tenderness, and fear. The shadow is context-dependent and morally neutral until enacted. The thing most people miss is this. Projection is a compass, not confession bait. When you find yourself irrationally charged by someone, too much praise or too much contempt, that's a live wire pointing to a part of you you've exiled. The work isn't, I admit I'm jealous. It's, what capacity in me have I sidelined, and how do I bring it back into responsible use? Integration isn't achieved by journaling alone. Journaling is a mirror, not a gym. Individuation is becoming more whole through ownership and enactment in relationship. Translation, you take back a trait, practice it skillfully, and people around you feel the difference. If it doesn't show up in boundaries, clean asks, repairs, or tolerating discomfort with others, it's not integration, it's autobiography. Here's the contrast with pop shadow work. Online, shadow talk often becomes identity branding. I'm fiery, I'm intense, I'm chaotic, or I've done deep shadow work, as if depth is measured by dramatic language. Jung wasn't asking for edgier labels, but for conscious relationship to what was previously unconscious, so it stops hijacking you. Let me ground this. Anger integration isn't, I'm an Aries, deal with it. The integrated version is boundary skill. I won't do X, stated calmly, followed by consistent action. The shadow's energy becomes strength only when it's channeled into behavior that respects reality and relationship. The reward isn't catharsis, it's competence. Now here's where most people mess up. They treat the shadow like content rather than capacity. They mine for stories and labels, believing more detail equals healing. But story without skill amplifies the illusion that understanding equals change. Understanding is step 0. The nervous system updates through prediction errors resolved by new data, reps, feedback, and friction in real interactions. Individuation isn't a license to be special. It's a responsibility to be more real. Persona, the curated mask, gets thinner as more shadow material is integrated. You care less about being seen as good, and more about being good for in specific ways. Clearer boundaries, cleaner asks, faster repairs. Paradoxically, you become less obsessed with yourself, because integrated parts can do their jobs without demanding attention. Here's the shortcut nobody teaches. Use projection as a map to practice, not a prompt for confession. Notice who you can't stand. List the traits. Translate those traits into capacities you might need. Directness, ambition, playfulness. Then pick one and enact it in a low-stakes interaction this week. If it's directness, send one concise email with a clear ask and a deadline. That's integration in miniature. A quick micro-story. A client swore she had rage issues. Her old move was venting and calling it shadow work. We reframed anger as boundary energy. She practiced one sentence. I'm not available for that, and left the room. Within 2 weeks, blow-ups dropped because the anger had a job. Projection pointed to a capacity, and enactment made it real. Okay, so even with the right definition, why do so many of us still loop in analysis? Because your brain is running a protection racket that makes thinking feel safer than changing. That's the next piece. How cognition gets rewarded while embodiment gets avoided, and why it inflates the ego in a healer costume. Once you see that loop, everything else clicks. The brain's protection racket. Why analysis feels like healing. Let's name the trap. Intellectualizing pain lets you feel competent while staying far from the thing. That actually changes you. Embodied discomfort in relationship. Thinking keeps threat at arm's length. It gives prediction and control, which your brain loves when it's anxious. But control is not connection, and prediction isn't integration. Here's why it feels so good. Your brain is a prediction machine. It constantly tries to minimize surprise. Prediction error minimization. When you spin a neat story about your childhood or your attachment style, your brain says, "Ah, I know why that happened." Prediction error drops. You feel safer. It feels like progress, but nothing changed. Uncertainty just decreased. Now add threat appraisal. Your nervous system scans for danger and assigns meaning. Safe, risky, or catastrophic. Embodied work. Asking for a boundary, saying no, tolerating someone's disappointment. Pings as risky, maybe even catastrophic if your history says rejection equals abandonment. Talking about doing it, though, that feels safe. So the system nudges you toward more words and away from action. You get the comfort of competence with none of the stakes. There's also a lighter form of dissociation, intellectualization, sometimes paired with mild depersonalization. You're not blacking out, you're hovering above your body, narrating feelings instead of feeling them. That can help in crisis. As a lifestyle, it blocks integration. The shadow doesn't integrate at the altitude of analysis. It integrates in tolerable doses of sensation with another person present. The thing most people miss: insights deliver dopamine. That, aha, rush is a reward hit. You journal, connect two memories, feel brilliant, and your brain tags analysis as the winning move. Meanwhile, behavior change is slow and rarely praised. That asymmetry wires you to chase insight spikes instead of reps. Insight without enactment is like buying gym clothes and calling it fitness. Here's the shortcut nobody teaches. Felt sense tolerance beats narrative mastery. Felt sense tolerance is your capacity to stay with a body sensation. Tight throat, hot cheeks, buzzing chest, without fixing it, fleeing it, or flooding. When you can ride 30 to 90 seconds of that wave, while staying connected to someone's supportive co-regulation, you install new predictions in your nervous system. This feeling won't kill me. I can move through it and choose. That's the software update you need. Let me show you exactly how this plays out. Say you're journaling about betrayal. You craft the perfect origin story. You label your pattern, outline your triggers, even write affirmations. You feel deeply on it. But when your partner cancels plans, you still spiral. Why? You never trained your system to tolerate the microbursts of grief that cancellation evokes. You built a map and never walked the terrain. Try this instead: co-regulated exposure. When a small disappointment hits, name one body sensation out loud to a safe person. There's a pressure in my chest. Set a 90-second timer. Breathe low and wide, eyes soft, and don't manage the other person. Just stay. When the timer ends, ask for a simple resource. Can you put a hand on my shoulder? Then make one grounded move. I'm bummed. Let's reschedule Thursday. You trained capacity, not story. Now here's where most people mess up. They confuse processing time with progress. They believe the more they talk it through, the more healed they are. But talking without new behavior cements the very loop that keeps them stuck. You build a smarter ego that can explain your wounds from every angle, while still avoiding the moment your body wobbles. The ego loves that. It gets to be expert and safe. Common mistakes to avoid: treating analysis like exposure. It isn't. Chasing catharsis highs. Dopamine bursts aren't durable change. Waiting to feel ready. Readiness follows a few tolerable reps. A quick microstory. A client kept dissecting her fear of confrontation. She could map every family dynamic by decade. We shifted to a 72-hour practice. One tiny direct ask per day, with a 60 to 90-second discomfort window and texted accountability. Within a week, her anxiety dropped during asks. Not because the stories changed, but because her body learned it could survive them. The reason this works is simple. Prediction errors update through lived data. Each time you ride a wave and act appropriately, your system recalibrates. Boundary is not equal to abandonment. Over time, analysis becomes a tool, not a hiding place. You still think, but in service of the next rep. Okay, so now you can see how the ego gets bigger wearing a healer costume. Analysis provides safety, status, and certainty without stakes. That's why healing can inflate self-focus. Next, we'll map the 4 ego inflation loops that turn self-work into narcissism, and the quick win that snaps you out of it. How healing becomes narcissism. The 4 ego inflation loops. Let's connect the dots. When analysis feels safer than action, your ego learns a neat trick. Use healing to justify staying. Centered on yourself. Left unchecked, that self-focus warps empathy, accountability, and reality testing. Here are the 4 loops that quietly turn self-work into narcissism, and how to break each one. Loop 1. Exceptionalism. The script sounds like, my shadow is deeper, the rules don't apply to me. You start believing your pain is uniquely complex, so ordinary expectations. Show up on time, follow through, apologize without a speech, feel beneath you. Consequence, isolation. People stop giving honest feedback because you framed yourself as too special to be questioned. Why it happens? Insight highs can foster superiority. Fix, structural humility. Agree to concrete standards with someone affected. Deadlines, meeting times, response windows, and let them measure you. When your inner voice argues, but my process, recommit to the shared rule, not your exception. Loop 2, moral license. You own a flaw and then feel entitled to repeat it. I know I can be blunt, I'm working on it. Becomes a permission slip for more bluntness. Confession masquerades as change. The thing most people miss. Awareness is morally neutral. Repairing impact is moral. Switch the verb. Replace own with own and repair. That means naming the behavior, acknowledging the effect, and doing behavioral restitution. If you were late, you don't perform a monologue about childhood chaos. You show up early for the next 3 meetings and check whether it restored trust. Why this works? It shifts the reward from narrative to evidence. You get credit for receipts, not revelations. Loop 3, identity fusion. You're wounded/healer. Identity becomes the brand you defend, identity protective cognition. Any challenge to your behavior feels like an attack on your essence. You curate relationships that echo your self-story and mute ones that ask for change. Cost, reality distortion. You stop updating based on outcomes. Antidote, identity flexibility on purpose. Write your roles on sticky notes, partner, teammate, friend, client, creator, and ask, what do they need from me this week? Then pick one boring, measurable behavior per role. This reorients you from self-protection to service. Loop 4, weaponized vulnerability. Oversharing becomes a way to control closeness, pseudo-intimacy that avoids mutuality and change. You disclose early and intensely to buy safety, sympathy, or leverage. If someone sets a boundary, you escalate the share. It looks intimate, but it avoids mutuality. Disclosures aren't matched with curiosity about the other person's experience or with changes in behavior. The fix is twofold. First, time-box disclosures. Share one concrete feeling and one request, then pause for the other person's response. Second, pair every disclosure with a pattern shift. I get clingy when you travel. I'm asking for a daily check-in. I'll also schedule 2 plans with friends, so I'm not on your phone all night. Vulnerability stops being a tool for control and becomes a bridge for mutual regulation. Now here's where most people mess up. They try to think their way out of these loops. But these are behavioral feedback systems, not philosophical problems. You close loops with actions that update how others experience you. Quick win across all 4. Own and repair. Build a tiny ritual. When you notice a pattern, say to the person affected, I did X. I imagine the impact is Y. Is that accurate? Listen. Then ask, what would make it right? Do that within 48 hours. Log it, date, behavior, impact, restitution. 3 receipts beat 30 insights. A microcheck for each loop. Exceptionalism. Did you agree to a rule someone else can see? Moral license. Did you deliver restitution, not explanation? Identity fusion. Did you pick a behavior that serves a role other than healer? Weaponized vulnerability. Did your share include a request and a matching behavior shift? A quick story. A coach prided herself on radical honesty. Translation. She was harsh. After owning her bluntness for months, clients still felt bruised. We added a repair-first protocol. Any feedback had to include one observed strength, one specific behavior, and an offer to help implement the change. Within 2 weeks, client churn dropped. Her truth finally did less harm because it arrived with scaffolding and skin in the game. If you remember nothing else, remember this. Narcissism isn't self-love, it's self-preoccupation. Healing becomes narcissism when insight replaces responsibility. Integration becomes visible the moment another human's burden gets lighter because you changed. Spotting the slide early is everything. In the next section, I'll give you 3 clear signs your shadow work is hurting you. and the exact antidotes that pull you out fast. 3 signs your shadow work is hurting you, and what to do. Sign 1. You treat relationship feedback as invalid, unless it's trauma-informed. Translation: unless someone mirrors your language and cites your favorite framework, you discard what they're saying. That's a subtle power move. You get to be the judge and the jury of whether a person is qualified to be impacted by you. The cost is obvious. You stop updating from reality. People withdraw honest signals, and your blind spots grow. Antidote: the reality check triad. Use 3 lenses before rejecting feedback. Lens 1. Content. What exactly did they observe in one sentence? Behavior first. Lens 2. Convergence. Have 2 or more people, across contexts, said something similar in the past year? Lens 3. Consequence. Does keeping this behavior cost outcomes I care about? If 2 of 3 light up, treat it as actionable regardless of vocabulary. Reflect back the behavior, check impact, and propose a small repair within 48 hours. Now here's where most people mess up. They argue about tone and lose the lesson. Tone may be off. Still log the pattern. Keep a signal, not style, note in your phone. Behavior quoted verbatim, date, source. Once a month, scan for repeats. Your nervous system learns to privilege data over defensiveness. Sign 2. You can explain your patterns, but can't change Tuesday. You deliver brilliant monologues about your avoidant parts, your inner child, your attachment history. And then Tuesday arrives and you ghost, snap, or overshare again. That's the analysis loop in action. Insight feels like change, so you delay the rep that would actually update the system. Antidote: the 72-hour micro-commitment. Pick one pattern, one behavior, one context. Make a measurable promise you can execute in the next 3 days. The formula is simple: who, what, when, and discomfort window. Example: by Thursday 5 p.m., I'll send Maria one clear email with 3 bullet points and a deadline. I'll tolerate 90 seconds of discomfort before editing. Put it somewhere public. Text a friend, tell your partner. Afterward, log the outcome in 3 lines. Did I do it? What sensation peaked? What happened next? Repeat 3 times a week for 2 weeks. Why this works? Repetition plus time pressure shrinks healing from a lifestyle brand to an action you can verify. Common mistake: stacking 5 commitments because you're motivated. Don't. That's perfectionism disguised as progress. One behavior in one relationship beats 5 vague intentions. We're retraining prediction, not curating identity. Sign 3. You chase catharsis highs and avoid boring reps. You love intense workshops, deep cries, ceremony, the breakthrough session. But you skip the mundane practices that build skill. The awkward boundary, the unglamorous apology, the weekly check-in. Your nervous system becomes a thrill seeker. It equates depth with intensity, not consistency. Result: great stories, same outcomes. Antidote: dull, measurable behaviors. Make a list called boring proof. These are behaviors someone else can recognize without you explaining. Examples: arrived 5 minutes early 3 times this week. Asked for what I wanted in 1 sentence, no backstory. Repaired within 48 hours. Give each a checkbox. Choose 3 to run every week for a month. Pair them with a discomfort scale from 1 to 10. If it feels like a 2, increase difficulty slightly. Raise the stakes, shorten the timeline, widen the audience. If it's a 9, titrate down. The move is to stay between a 4 and a 7. That's where capacity builds. Why this works: accountability shifts reward from narrative to evidence. Your brain stops chasing, I get it, and starts tagging, I did it, as the win. Over time, your identity reorganizes around receipts. Others can predict you in ways that feel safe. A micro-story to make this real. A student in my group was queen of confession. Every session, beautiful self-awareness, lots of tears, 0 change at home. We ran a 2-week experiment. No confessions, only repairs. She picked 2 relationships, tracked 1 behavior per person, and reported receipts, not feelings. 2 weeks later, her sister said, "You're easier to be around." That wasn't a spiritual compliment. It was evidence. Warmth returned because impact changed. Note the theme across all 3 signs. Your attention is stuck on you. Your language, your process, your catharsis. The antidotes pull you back into relationships with shared reality, small promises, and visible repairs. That's the corridor out of ego training and into integration. Now that you've got early warning signs and fixes, we'll build the core mechanics of real integration, so these shifts become automatic. Integration, not excavation. The 4-step practice. Wholeness isn't an essay. It's something people can feel when they're with you. Trade excavation for integration. Here's the core practice. Notice, normalize, negotiate new behavior. The 3NS plus 1B. It's sticky, so you can run it on a Tuesday when your stomach drops and your mouth goes dry. First step, notice. The thing most people miss is that shadow shows up first in the body, not in your narrative. Catch the earliest physical cue. Tight jaw, heat in the face, shallow breath, a sudden urge to retreat or attack. Label it in 6 words or less. Chest tight, urge to fix them. This is your tripwire. If you're already storytelling, you missed the first mile marker. Bring attention down and out, feet, breath, sounds in the room. You're orienting to now, so you can choose, not react. Second step, normalize. This isn't, I'm special. It's, I'm human. Say it plainly. Anyone with my history might feel this. You're diffusing shame without diluting responsibility. The reason this matters is your nervous system needs safety to update. When you normalize, you reduce the panic spike that drives old patterns. But don't overnormalize. A single sentence is enough. If you monologue, you're medicating with words. Third step, negotiate. This is where you convert raw charge into needs. Ask, what need is live here? Protection, clarity, closeness, rest, respect. Then translate the need into one clean request or boundary you could make. Keep it behavioral and specific. The shortcut nobody teaches. If the need is unclear, default to time or clarity. I need 5 minutes. Or, I need the ask in 1 sentence. Negotiation isn't with the other person first. It's with yourself. Can you tolerate a little discomfort to ask for something real? Fourth step, new behavior. This is the public part, where integration earns its stripes. Pick one action that honors both the need and the relationship. Keep it observable. If you can't schedule it, it isn't integration. Deliver the behavior in front of another person, so reality can push back and shape you. Shadow softens under friction. Without friction, it's all theory. Let me give you a clean example. Say envy pops up when a colleague lands a big client. Old move. Spiral into superiority or self-loathing. Then journal about scarcity. Integration move. Notice. Stomach knots, scrolling their page. Normalize. Envy happens. It's a signal. Negotiate. Need, growth and mentorship. New behavior. Name the resource gap and ask for guidance. Congrats on the win. I'm aiming for clients at that level. Would you be open to a 20-minute mentorship call next week? I'll bring 3 questions. Then you schedule it on the spot. You just turned a shadow spike into a skill-building rep. Anger? Same flow. Notice, heat in chest, jaw locked. Normalize. Anger is boundary energy. Negotiate. Need, respect for my time. New behavior. 1 sentence, no story. I won't be able to continue if meetings start late. Let's lock a 5-minute grace window and then begin without late arrivals. Then do it. The point isn't clever phrasing, it's repeatable behavior. Shame? Notice, collapse in the gut. Normalize. Shame visits when I risk. Negotiate. Need repair. New behavior. Name your impact and offer restitution. I missed the deadline. I imagine that stalled your work. Is that accurate? If so, I'll deliver by 3 p.m. today and add a buffer next time. You just moved from self-attack to accountable action. Common mistakes to watch. Skipping notice and going straight to speeches. If you can't feel it, you can't steer it. Over-normalizing into excuses. 1 sentence, then move. Negotiating in your head, but never asking out loud. Keeping new behavior private. Without witness, your ego grades itself on a curve. A quick micro-story. A manager kept owning her micromanaging in one-on-ones, then doing it again. We installed 3NS plus 1B. During meetings, she noticed the urge to grab the mouse, normalized the fear of failure, negotiated for clarity. What's the outcome and deadline? And ran a new behavior. She asked the engineer to summarize the plan in 2 sentences and set a check-in. 2 weeks later, team velocity improved. Not because she understood micromanagement better, but because she replaced it in public. If you remember nothing else, remember this. Integration is enacted, not narrated. Run 3NS plus 1B in real time, in front of people, on small stakes, often. Do that, and your personality recalibrates around behaviors others can trust. Next, we'll build drills that make this automatic. Reps that use co-regulation and graded exposure, so your nervous system learns to choose the new move under pressure. The relational gym. co-regulation, and exposure representatives you can't integrate alone. Shadows show up with people because that's where they were formed. Think of this as your relational gym. Use graded exposure in safe relationships, co-regulation on purpose, and 3 drills: microboundary, clean ask, and direct repair. Timebox discomfort windows so your nervous system learns. I can ride this and still choose. First, why co-regulation? Because nervous systems sync. When you stand near someone steady, your threat appraisal dials down. That makes room for choice. You're not outsourcing your regulation forever. You're borrowing stability while you build it. Over time, repetition with a regulated other turns into internal regulation. The shortcut nobody talks about. Don't wait to be calm to practice. Use another person's calm as scaffolding. Set the frame with your partner, friend, or teammate. I'm running reps to get better at boundaries, asks, and repairs. Your job is to be steady, brief, and honest. My job is to tolerate discomfort for 90 seconds and act. Agree on a stop word if either of you floods. Keep reps short, frequent, and boring. Drill 1, microboundary. Pick a small request you'd normally say yes to by default. Can you jump on a quick call? And practice a clean no. The script is 1 sentence, no apology, no backstory. I'm not available for that, email works. Then you tolerate 90 seconds of discomfort in your body. Name 1 sensation out loud, tight throat, and keep your shoulders soft. Your partner's job is to say got it, and not rescue you with reassurance. After 90 seconds, exhale, shake out your hands, and log it. Did I keep it to 1 sentence? What peaked? What happened next? Run 3 reps in a week. Level up by saying no to someone with mild authority. The goal isn't bravado, it's consistency under small stakes. Now here's where most people mess up. They add explanations. Explanations are an anxiety management strategy that erode boundary clarity. If you're tempted, timebox it. 1 extra clause max. I'm not available for that, email works, and I'll reply by end of day. Drill 2, clean ask. You'll request something without story, and you'll accept a no without collapse. The structure is simple. 1 sentence ask, 1 benefit, 1 deadline. Can you review this deck for 10 minutes today, so I can fix it before 4 p.m? Then you shut up. If they say no, your only line is, thanks for letting me know. Start your 90-second timer and feel the heat without bargaining or sulking. Why this works? You decouple worth from response and retrain your system to hear no as data, not doom. To advance, ask someone who intimidates you slightly. To titrate down, start with a peer and a trivial request. Drill 3, direct repair. Within 48 hours of a miss, you name impact and offer restitution. The line is 3 beats. I did X. I imagine Y was the impact. Is that accurate? Then listen. Validate what's true. No explanations. Then propose a make-right that's concrete and time-bound. I missed the handoff. I imagine that stalled your morning. If it helps, I'll deliver by 3 p.m. and add a buffer on the next sprint. Now the 90-second window kicks in while you stay present for their response. If they want something different, negotiate specifics. If they want nothing, still log your restitution attempt. Run at least 1 repair a week, even if it's tiny. Repairs are the reps that build trust faster than any confession. Timebox discomfort windows are the game changer here. Set 60 to 90-second timers during each drill. While it runs, your only job is to stay in social engagement. Eye contact soft, breath low, jaw unclenched, voice slow. You're teaching your system. I can feel this and remain connected. That state installs new predictions. Without the clock, you'll either rush to fix the feeling or avoid the rep entirely. Design your exposure ladder. Write 5 rungs for each drill, from easiest to spiciest. Microboundary, decline a chat, a call, a last-minute task, a weekend request, a senior ask. Clean ask, favor with a friend up to a raise conversation. Direct repair, late text up to a botched deliverable. Start on rung 2 or 3, easy enough to succeed, hard enough to feel. When a rung feels like a 2 on a 10-point scale, move up. When it hits a 9, drop 1 rung or shorten the timeline. Common pitfalls, practicing in isolation. You can't simulate relational friction alone. Overprocessing after reps. 2-line debrief, then back to life. Fishing for reassurance. Let the got it land. Don't ask, are you mad? Skipping the timer. The window is the workout. A quick micro-story. A founder avoided saying no to investors and bled time. We ran microboundary with his co-founder daily for a week. Then with a friendly advisor, then with one investor. Same sentence, same 90-second window. By week 3, he declined a misaligned meeting and gained 4 hours. The nervous system didn't change because he believed new thoughts. It changed because he felt the wobble and stayed. Remember, this is a gym. You don't need dramatic breakthroughs. You need boring, observable reps under gentle load, witnessed by a stable other. That's how shadows become skills. The algorithmic amplifier. How platforms inflate the shadow. Therapy isn't the only place this goes sideways. Social platforms bend toward identity certainty, victim/hero arcs, and outrage amplification. If you're tempted to narrate instead of integrate, the algorithm pays you to double down. You get attention for performative depth long before anyone feels a change in your behavior. Here's the mechanism. Most platforms optimize for engagement, which favors story clarity and emotional peaks. I had a breakthrough performs. I installed one boundary on Tuesday is boring. So disclosures and confessions rack up likes because they're legible, intense, and low cost. Meanwhile, the behaviors that actually build trust, quiet boundaries, measured asks, fast repairs, produce silence. No one claps when you show up on time for the 5th week. Your nervous system learns the wrong lesson. Share more revelations, skip the reps. Now here's where most people mess up. They treat comments like a moral court. If strangers validate your confession, you take it as proof of growth. If a partner's feedback stings but gets 3 likes, you assume the crowd backs you. But crowds don't live with you. The people impacted by your behavior are your real dataset. Outsourcing accountability to an audience distorts reality testing, pluralistic ignorance, and performative norms. You optimize for applause, not impact. The thing most people miss is the feedback loop this creates. Share a raw disclosure, get soothing reinforcement, feel bonded with followers. Escalate the share next time to keep connection high. That's weaponized vulnerability at scale. It looks intimate. It's actually control, managing closeness with spectacle instead of mutual adjustment. And it trains the ego to conflate reach with relatedness. So how do you protect your integration while still using the internet like a normal person? Install Guardrails. Practical Guardrail 1. Create privately, share results later. Do the rep, then post the receipt. 3 weeks of repair within 48 hours. Team dropped rework by 20%. That's not a brag, it's evidence. If you can't show a before / after someone else could verify, it's not ready for the feed. Guardrail 2. Delay posting 24 hours. This is your time-boxed expression window for the online world. When you feel the urge to disclose, write it, sit on it, and ask one question the next day. What's the behavior this post commits me to? If there isn't one, archive it or turn it into a note to self. The pause breaks the dopamine loop and links narrative to action. Guardrail 3. Establish a witness, not audience rule. Pick 2 to 3 people directly impacted by your patterns, partner, co-worker, close friend, and agree on metrics. They're your reviewers, comments are noise. When a post does numbers, still ask your witnesses, did anything actually change for you this week? If not, adjust behavior, not content. A micro-story to show this. A creator built a following on raw confessional healing. Views were great, her home life wasn't. We ran a 30-day pivot. No confession content, only repair logs with specifics. Who, what, by when. Fewer views, better life. Her partner's line after 2 weeks. You talk less, and I trust you more. That's the metric that matters. Practical move. Create a shadow buffer folder. Everything intense goes there first. Notes, drafts, videos. Tag each with a behavior you'll run in real life within 72 hours. No tag, no post. Then, once per week, you can share one thing that already happened, naming the observable change and the outcome. You're training your nervous system to pair expression with enactment. Common mistakes to avoid. Live processing on stories and streams. If it's not processed offline with someone accountable, it's entertainment for your ego. Fishing for diagnostic labels in comments. That's outsourcing clinical judgment to an algorithm. If you need assessment, get it privately. Treating holding boundaries as community content. Boundaries are for the person they affect, not a performance of moral hygiene. Remember, platforms are tools, not therapists. Use them to show receipts, not to audition for absolution. If you're going to share your healing, make the post a scoreboard, not a sermon. Fewer words, more dates, times, and behaviors somebody else could corroborate. That way, the algorithm can't inflate your shadow. It's stuck amplifying your practice. Spiritual bypassing 2.0. the new avoidance disguised as depth. Now the escape hatch that loves a good robe. Sacred language can cloak ordinary fear, limits, grief, boredom, with elegant words. That's spiritual bypassing 2.0, building. On John Welwood's 1980s term, using high-concept mysticism to dodge simple, uncomfortable behaviors. It sounds humble and feels profound. It's avoidance dressed as wisdom. Four flavors show up most. Purity bypass. You chase perfect states. High vibration, clean energy, impeccable boundaries, so you never have to weather messy interactions. You refuse low-frequency conversations, which conveniently include accountability and conflict. The cost is brittleness. Relationships die because nothing real can survive a sterilized room. The pivot is practice, not purity. Ask, what small imperfect act would serve this relationship today? Then do the unglamorous, slightly messy thing. Send the repair text, take the feedback, sit through your own irritation for 90 seconds without purging it on someone. Specialness bypass. You're a rare soul on a singular path. Therefore, ordinary expectations don't apply. Deadlines are constraints on creativity. Agreements become not aligned, and you treat other people's needs as density. Specialness anesthetizes you from the sting of being average at a skill you actually need. The antidote is apprenticeship. Translate calling into drills. Choose a mentor, a curriculum, and a metric. Run 5 boring reps a week. Your uniqueness can stay. Your behavior joins the human species. Cosmic causality bypass. Everything is a sign, a mirror, a lesson. Maybe, but interpreting can replace action. If your relationship is crumbling, you don't need a 12th Saturn read. You need a scheduled conversation about household labor with a clear outcome. Rule: if the insight doesn't generate a next action with a date, it's decoration. Keep the meaning. Pair it with an email, calendar invite, or payment. Forgiveness as a race bypass. You forgive to transcend pain or bypass anger, but you skip repair and restitution, rebuilding trust through behavior over time. You let someone back in, or let yourself off the hook, without rebuilding trust. That isn't forgiveness, it's amnesia with a halo. Healthy forgiveness includes boundary and rebuild. Name harm, agree on safeguards, and put numbers on it. 3 months of consistent behavior before privileges return. If that sounds unspiritual, it's because real forgiveness runs on craft, not vibes. Here's the conversion formula that saves you hours. Translate abstraction into a specific next action. 1-sentence bridge. If I truly believed X, the next thing I'd do by Friday is Y. Try it. I'm calling in abundance becomes by Friday, I'll renegotiate my client rate by 10% or pitch 2 prospects with a set offer. I'm surrendering becomes I'll submit the application, then stop refreshing my inbox. I'll review outcomes next Wednesday. I'm holding my frequency becomes I'll sleep 8 hours and say no to 1 drain this week. I'm healing scarcity becomes I'll audit my subscriptions and reallocate $50 to savings by Sunday. Checkpoint you can tattoo on a sticky note. If it can't be scheduled, it isn't integration. Your calendar is your spiritual document, and your receipts are your sutras. Common mistakes to watch: turning practices into performances. Meditation is great. Using it to avoid a hard talk is still avoidance. Swapping one vocabulary for another. If attachment got you stuck, karma won't free you, action will. Collecting transmissions without translation. Retreats, activations, ceremonies, fine. But every event needs a Tuesday behavior. A quick microstory. A client framed every conflict as a karmic dance with my twin flame. It sounded poetic, it was chaos. We replaced cosmology with choreography. 1 clean ask per week, 1 direct repair within 48 hours, and a shared logistics doc. 3 weeks later, same souls, fewer fires. The sacred didn't shrink, the drama did. If you love spiritual language, keep it. Just make it earn its keep. Pair every mantra with a measurable behavior. Track it. Let someone impacted witness it. That's how you keep depth while preventing the dodge. This matters because bypassing steals the exact frictions that toughen integration. It avoids grief, limits, and the humility of slow change. Bring those back in, and your practice starts feeding your relationships instead of feeding your image. Next, we'll separate healthy shadow work from the counterfeit. Clear principles, real examples, and the behaviors that make people around you breathe easier. Healthy shadow work, what it actually looks like. Let's draw the clean line between real integration and its counterfeit. Healthy shadow work is specific, behavioral, and time-bound, consistent with behavior change science. If someone can't observe the result without your explanation, it doesn't count. Think receipts, not revelations. Principle 1. Specificity and measurability. Translate inner work into an action another person can see by a date. I'm working on boundaries becomes, I'll leave at 6 p.m. 3 days this week and decline post 5:30 requests. Outcome is observable. Did you leave? Did you decline? Principle 2. Reciprocity. Your shadow meets others' needs too. If you integrate anger as boundary energy, people around you should feel safer, not bulldozed. If you integrate neediness as clean asking, your partner should feel clearer, not managed. A quick test. Did the other person's workload or emotional load get lighter? Principle 3. Feedback seeking with metrics. Don't DIY your score. Reduce self-serving bias with external ratings. Agree on what success looks like with the person affected. For the next 2 weeks, rate my meeting starts, on time, within 5 minutes, or late. I'll screenshot my calendar blocks. Numbers beat vibes, especially when your ego wants gold stars. Principle 4. Repair first ethos. When harm happens, and it will, acknowledge it, name impact, and offer restitution. Repairs are the currency of trust. If you miss a mark, you don't process for hours. You fix something specific within 48 hours and check if it helped. Let's convert anger, envy, and shame into behaviors. Anger. Old. Venting or announcing. That's just my fire. Healthy. Convert anger into boundary skill. Behavior set. 1 sentence boundary. Consistent follow through. Pre-agreed consequence. Example. I won't respond to Slack after 6 p.m. If pinged, you don't reply. You address it in the morning and restate the boundary. Metric. Number of after-hours replies per week goes to 0. Teammate confirms they adjusted. Repair protocol. If you blow up, you name impact and propose restitution. I spoke harshly in stand-up. I'll lead tomorrow's with a strengths first rundown, and I've moved the hot topic to a written doc. Envy. Old. Compare, spiral, or posture superiority. Healthy. Translate envy into resource mapping and skill acquisition. Behavior set. Identify the gap. Name 1 mentor or tutorial. Schedule a rep. Example. I envy their concise writing. Action. Write 1 150-word summary for my team every Tuesday by noon. Metric. Teammate rates clarity 1 to 5 for 2 weeks. Reciprocity lens. Does your summary save them time? If yes, you've turned a shadow spike into service. Shame. Old. Collapse, self-attack, or radical transparency that burdens others. Healthy. Use shame as a repair signal. Behavior set. Name the miss, check impact, offer make right, and install a prevention. Example. I dropped the ball on childcare pickup. I imagine that stressed you and compressed your work. Accurate. I'll take pickups Thursday and Friday and add a calendar alert with a 30-minute buffer. Metric. Partner reports whether pickups happened and stress decreased. Prevention. Share the alert and invite a double check. Common mistake. Excavation without skill acquisition. You can dig forever. Healthy work asks, what skill replaces this pattern? Then you drill it. If anger is unchanneled power, the skill is boundary language. If envy points to a gap, the skill is targeted practice. If shame signals rupture, the skill is repair and planning. To make this sticky, run a weekly triad. 1 boundary rep, 1 clean ask, 1 repair. Keep them small and schedule them. Examples. Boundary rep. Decline 1 meeting today and propose an async update. Clean ask. Request a 10-minute review with a deadline and accept a no. Repair. Acknowledge yesterday's interruption, ask impact, and commit to a handraise rule. Agree on metrics with someone affected. 2 numbers per rep is plenty. Did it happen? And was it helpful? Build a tiny scoreboard on your fridge or notes app. Green check for done, yellow for attempted, red for missed. At the end of the week, ask your witness 1 question. Did your experience of me improve? Their single sentence is your truth serum. Let's run a mini case set. Anger to boundary. A designer kept blowing up about scope creep. We installed a change request script. Happy to add that. Here's the trade-off. Which timeline do you prefer? Metric. Requests captured in a log. Product manager signs off each trade. Result. Fewer blow-ups, better planning. The shadow energy became negotiation. Envy to mentorship. A junior marketer envied a colleague's results. We converted it. 2 20-minute mentorship calls with pre-written questions and 1 applied test each Friday. Metric, click-through rate on the test email. Reciprocity, he shared learnings with the team. Envy became a rising tide. Shame to repair, a manager dreaded performance conversations, then overshared, seeking absolution. We moved to a 3-part structure: strength, behavior, support. Metric, direct report rates clarity and care on a 2-item survey. Repairs happened early, without dumping. You'll be tempted to narrate progress. Don't. Let your behaviors speak. If you need words, keep them accounting level: dates, actions, results. And remember the filter. If it can't be scheduled, it isn't integration. One last guardrail: rotate whose needs lead. Alternate weeks where your practice optimizes for your partner, your team, then yourself. This prevents self-improvement from becoming self-absorption. You're not vanishing, you're balancing. Healthy shadow work leaves a trail. Fewer apologies needed, faster apologies delivered, clearer asks, cleaner no's, calmer rooms. People breathe easier around you. That's the point. Advanced techniques, when patterns don't budge. Some patterns don't move because they're not just habits, they're protective adaptations. If your system learned, this keeps me safe, blunt force won't work. You need precision. Before we continue, you need to understand parts-informed mapping, not as a new identity, but as a way to cooperate with the system that protects you. Think in roles drawing from parts-informed models like internal family systems, IFS. Protectors keep you from pain, perfectionism, control, people-pleasing. Exiles carry original hurt, shame, grief, terror. Managers, a protector subset, run day-to-day image. Firefighters reactively numb when exiles flare. When a trigger hits, protectors jump first. If you attack them, they dig in. Respect their job and offer better tools, and they loosen. You don't need a deep origin story to start. You need state shifting, pendulation, titration, and vow-breaking experiments to build capacity and prove new outcomes. Pendulation is alternating attention between safe and charged, a somatic experiencing technique. You swing, on purpose, to teach your system range. Why it matters: staying in the charge floods you, avoiding it freezes you. The sweet spot is rhythmic touches that let you feel and return. Run a 2-minute drill. 30 seconds on a safety anchor. Feet on the floor, a steady breath, the sound of the air vent. 30 seconds on a mild charge. Recall last Tuesday's tense email and name one body cue. Back to safety. 3 rounds. Then 1 microaction tied to the charge. Draft a 2-sentence reply without sending. You're telling your system, we can touch heat and come back. Titration is microdosing the trigger, so you don't blow the fuse, gradual exposure with regulation intact. You break the big thing into crumbs. If asking for a raise is a 9 out of 10, titrate it down. Script the ask in 1 sentence. Say it to yourself in the mirror. Say it to a friend. Email a small request with a deadline. Ask your manager for a 10-minute check-in. Each crumb earns a green check. Why it works: your predictors update with small wins instead of catastrophic fails. Now the game changer: vow-breaking experiments. Many of us carry implicit vows made in tough moments. I will never need anyone. I must be the strong one. If I'm not perfect, I'm unsafe. They keep order but cost aliveness. Identify one by listening after a wobble. The first absolute is your clue. Then design a 7-day counter behavior to break it gently. Here's a template. Vow: I never ask for help. Counter behavior: 1 ask per day that takes 5 minutes or less. Heat the oven. Review a paragraph. Hold a spot in line. Log the sensation spike and the outcome. Day 1 might sting. By day 4, the world didn't collapse. A few people even liked helping. Your protector learns there's a new rule. We can ask in tiny ways and stay safe. Another: I must be agreeable. Counter: 1 honest micro-opinion daily, framed respectfully. I prefer we keep this meeting to 20 minutes. 90-second window. If you get pushback, repeat your line once, then move on. At the end of the week, check the ledger. How many ruptures? How many surprises? Evidence beats fear. Let's map this with parts on a sticky note. Column 1, protector behavior: avoid, over-explain, overwork. Column 2, what it protects: fear of rejection, shame, helplessness. Column 3, new tool: pendulation, titration crumb, vow breaker. Before a rep, you literally thank the protector. You've kept me safe by over-explaining. Today I'll try 1-sentence asks for 90 seconds. Sounds cheesy. Works anyway because respect de-escalates the internal fight. State shifting in the moment looks like this: regulate, relate, then reason. Trigger. Your boss pings you at 6:15 p.m. Old pattern. Reply instantly, resent later. Advanced flow. 3 breaths to pendulate. Feel feet. Feel the ping in your chest, back to feet. Titrate a crumb. Draft, don't send. Run your vow breaker. Respect your I end at 6 boundary. I'm offline now. I'll respond at 9 a.m. Start the 90-second timer. Let the heat peak. If panic spikes, pendulate once, then stay. You just rewired a Tuesday. Common mistakes here. Turning parts into alibis. My protector told me to. No, parts inform, you decide. Flooding yourself to prove bravery. That's reenactment. If the needle hits 9, you went too big. Skipping the log. Without data, your fear argues forever. With 7 receipts, it quiets. A microstory. A client had a be indispensable vow. He overworked and resented everyone. We named the vow and ran a 7-day break. Leave by 6 p.m., 1 ask per day for help, 1 no to a last-minute request. Pendulation before every move, 90-second windows after. Day 2 was rough. By day 5 he reported 5 minutes of discomfort, then relief. 2 weeks later, his report. I'm less angry at everyone. Translation. The protector retired a little. If you remember nothing else. Stubborn patterns are loyal protectors. Don't fight them, retrain them. Use pendulation to build range, titration to scale the load, and vow breaking to rewrite old rules with tiny public experiments. Next, we'll stitch these into a 30-day plan that survives real life. The 30-day integration sprint. Turn everything into a single month that fits real life. For weeks, 1 pattern, boring proof. Success criteria: fewer words, more receipts. Week 1 is inventory and select. Don't pick 5 patterns, pick 1. Write a quick inventory. Where do you create friction, boundaries, asks, repairs? Choose 1 pattern with clear stakes and translate it into 2 concrete behaviors. Use the formula: who, what, when. Example: boundary. Decline 1 low-priority meeting by Wednesday noon. Repair. Acknowledge yesterday's interruption to Sam by 5 p.m. Ask impact. Propose restitution. Lock both on your calendar. Share them with 1 witness who's affected. If you can't name a witness, you chose the wrong behaviors. Week 2 is reps and logs. You'll run daily exposure in low-stakes contexts. Think ladders, not leaps. For your boundary, start rung 2. Decline a meeting you don't need. Propose an async update. For your repair, pick a small miss, not a catastrophe. Every rep gets the 60 to 90-second discomfort window. While the timer runs, stay in social engagement. Soft eyes, low breath, unclenched jaw. Then record 3 lines in your log. What you did, what sensation peaked, what happened next. Keep logs short so you actually write them. Week 3 is the feedback loop. Invite your partner, teammate, or friend to score 1 metric tied to each behavior. Make the scale dumb simple. Boundary. On time, within 5 minutes, or late. Repair. Did they name impact and offer restitution? Yes/no. Add 1 qualitative line. Was this helpful? Review the scores every 3 days and adjust friction. If reps feel like a 2, level up, shorten timelines, raise stakes, widen audience. If reps hit a 9, titrate down, smaller context, simpler ask. The goal is steady work in the 4 to 7 range. Week 4 is public proof. Deliver 1 repair or boundary that actually matters. Choose a move with a real cost or a real benefit. A clear no to a misaligned project, a direct repair for a dropped deliverable, or a raise conversation framed cleanly. Prepare with pendulation and titration. Script in 1 sentence, speak it to a friend, then schedule the real conversation. During the moment, run your discomfort window and hold your line. Afterward, log outcomes and ask the person impacted. Was this helpful? Their answer is the scoreboard. Tools that make this stick. Habit contract. Write a 1-paragraph promise for the month. Pattern, 2 behaviors, witnesses, and what you'll do if you miss. Post it where your eyes land daily. Discomfort scale, 1 to 10 color-coded. You should see a cluster between 4 and 7. If not, adjust load. Repair ledger, a simple table, date, miss, impact named, restitution offered, outcome. Review weekly for patterns. You're teaching your nervous system that integrity is tracked, not proclaimed. A few guardrails to keep you honest. 1 pattern only. The moment you feel the urge to add more, that's likely perfectionism sneaking in. Cap processing time. 10 minutes to plan, 5 minutes to log, 90 seconds to feel. Reallocate the rest to reps. replace confessions with commitments. If you catch yourself narrating, translate it into a next action with a date. Keep witnesses close and relevant. Followers don't count. The people you live and work with do. Micro stumbles will happen. Pre-commit your response. If you skip a rep, your rule is repair within 48 hours. Name it, ask impact, and deliver a small make-right. If you flood, drop one rung and shorten the timeline. If you freeze, pendulate once, feet, breath, safe sound. Then take the smallest visible action in 60 seconds. Momentum matters more than mood. How do you know it's working? 3 signs. Predictability improves. Others can forecast you with less effort. Friction shifts from blow-ups to tiny adjustments. Your log shows more green checks than paragraphs. And yes, warmth returns. People feel lighter around you because your behavior carries, not your brand. Remember the mantra of this sprint. Fewer words, more receipts. If it can't be scheduled, it isn't integration. Run the month. Then keep the one behavior that moved the needle and make it your new baseline. Antidotes to ego inflation while you heal. You've got the drills, the sprint, the receipts. Now let's add guardrails that keep your ego from hijacking the process. Think of these as structural humility. Systems that make it harder to drift into self-preoccupation while calling it growth. Rule 1. Metrics must be witnessed by someone impacted. Not a coach across the internet. A person who actually carries the fallout or the benefit. Why this matters? Narcissism feeds on private grading. External. Witnessing turns self-evaluation into shared reality. Implementation. Pick one behavior from your sprint, boundary, ask, or repair, and co-create a 2-metric score with the person affected. Keep it simple. Did it happen? Y/N. Was it helpful? 1 to 5. Schedule a 5-minute review every Friday. The moment you want to explain your intention, return to the metric. Receipts beat reputation. Rule 2. Replace confessions with commitments. Confession is soothing, commitment is shaping. When you want to own your pattern, swap in a next action, a deadline, and a witness. Use. Instead of explaining, here's the commitment. By Thursday 3 p.m., I'll deliver X. If I miss, restitution is Y. You get credit for delivery, not disclosure. Rule 3. Cap processing time, reallocate to action. Insight is a spice, not a meal. Set a hard ceiling. 10 minutes to plan, 5 minutes to log, 90 seconds to feel the heat, then go do the thing. Time boxing protects you from analysis benders that look like work and function like avoidance. A simple timer beats willpower. When it dings, you move. Rule 4. Quarterly shadow sabbatical. For 2 weeks every quarter, you produce no content about your healing. No posts, no shares, no public reflections. You still practice, but you let the work breathe off stage. This interrupts the algorithmic pull toward performative depth and recenters behavior. If you lead a community, tell them you're on a practice-only interval and share results later with dates and data. Rule 5. Humility rituals. Mood-based humility fades. Structural humility sticks. Install weekly prompts that lower your self-certainty and raise service. Prompt 1. Where am I hard to love this week? Ask 2 people who see you often and accept their sentence without defense. Prompt 2. Who carried extra because of me? Deliver one make-right within 48 hours. Prompt 3. What boring act of care can I do today? Then do it quietly. No announcement, no photo. The reason this works is simple. Structural humility beats mood-based humility. You're not relying on feeling humble. You're building routines that keep you small enough to learn and solid enough to deliver. Systems nudge you back into reciprocity when your ego wants to center the self. Here's how to wire these in. Start with a witness map. Choose 3 people. 1 at home, 1 at work, 1 friend. Share 1 behavior and 1 metric with each. For 2 weeks, rate whether I start meetings on time. Yes, within 5 or late. For 2 weeks, rate whether my asks are 1 sentence and include a deadline. For 2 weeks, rate whether I repair within 48 hours. Put the ratings in a shared note. No commentary, just numbers. Next, build a commitments board. 3 columns, commitments, deadline, restitution. Every time you want to confess, write a commitment instead and DM it to your witness. If you miss, you don't spiral, you run the pre-written restitution. This keeps momentum when guilt wants a monologue. Now the timer rule. Create 2 timers on your phone, 10 o'clock and 1:30. Label them plan and feel. Before any rep, hit plan. What's the next concretely schedulable action? After the rep, hit feel. Sit in the wave and keep your eyes soft for 90 seconds. Then log 3 lines and move. The repetition trains your system to convert arousal into action rather than analysis. For the sabbatical, set dates now. Put 2 weeks on your calendar in the next quarter as practice only. During that window, track reps and outcomes. After the sabbatical, publish 1 receipts post. What you did, what changed for others. No adjectives needed. Finally, humility rituals. Every Sunday night, send 3 texts to your witnesses. Where was I hard to love? What did you need from me that I missed? 1 boring way I can help this week. Take the answers, pick 1 action, and schedule it. Common mistakes. Turning humility into performance. If you share your rituals for praise, you just fed the loop. Keep them intimate. Arguing with metrics. If you don't like the score, change the behavior, not the rubric. Expanding rules into bureaucracy. These are light scaffolds, not a new religion. If a rule creates more talking than doing, shrink it. A micro-story. A leader with a teacher brand kept lecturing after missteps. We replaced apologies with commitments and added a weekly humility ritual with 2 directs. Within a month, they reported fewer speeches, more timely fixes, and a quieter room. The comment that mattered most. I don't brace when you enter. That's structural humility doing its job. Keep these antidotes close. They don't make you smaller, they make your impact cleaner. And they keep your healing aimed where it counts, at behaviors people can feel. Rapid-fire troubleshooting. Common pitfalls and fixes. Let's tighten bolts fast. Quick diagnoses, precise fixes, back on track. Pitfall, overwhelm. Why it happens. You tried to shift your whole personality in a week. You're nervous. System flags it as threat and shuts you down. Fix. Shrink target to 1 behavior, 1 relationship. Use the who, what, when format and the 90-second discomfort window. Example. By Wednesday noon, text my sister 1 clear boundary about Sunday visits. Nothing else changes until that's done 3 times. Pitfall, perfectionism. Why it happens. Protectors equate safety with flawless execution, so you delay reps until conditions are perfect. Fix, the 70% rule. Ship when the ask boundary or repair is clear enough for a reasonable person. Log attempts, not outcomes. Score, did I do the rep? Not did it feel ideal? If you miss, run the pre-committed restitution within 48 hours. Pitfall, rejection fear. Why it happens. No feels like proof you're unworthy, so you avoid asking and call it boundaries. Fix, build an exposure ladder with consent. 5 rungs from trivial to meaningful. Start on rung 2. Script the clean ask, accept no without bargaining, run your 90 seconds, and record the peak sensation. You're training your system that no is data, not doom. Pitfall, relapse. Why it happens. Stress tightens old predictions. You default to the fastest regulator, over-explaining, people-pleasing, stonewalling. Fix, pre-commit your repair. Write the 3-beat line now. I did X. I imagine Y was the impact. Is that accurate? Plus 1 restitution you can deliver same day. The moment you slip, you execute. You're turning setbacks into trust deposits. Pitfall, loneliness. Why it happens. Practicing accountability without witnesses feels like shouting into a void. Motivation fades. Fix, build an accountability pod. 3 people, 20-minute weekly huddle, cameras on. Each person reports 1 boundary rep, 1 ask, 1 repair. No processing, just receipts. End with 1 commitment each for the next 72 hours. Pitfall, inside addiction. Why it happens. Dopamine spikes from understanding masquerade as change, so you seek more frameworks. Fix, 1 in, 1 out rule. For every new insight, produce 1 new receipt within 72 hours that someone else can verify. No receipt, no new content. You'll starve the loop that confuses learning with doing. Pitfall, weaponized vulnerability comeback. Why it happens. Stress makes oversharing feel like the quickest intimacy hack. Fix, 2-sentence cap. 1 feeling, 1 request. Then ask 1 question about the other person's experience. If you keep talking, pause and start a 90-second timer. Let the wave pass without filling the space. Pitfall, boundary backlash. Why it happens. You set a boundary once, got pushback, and assumed boundaries don't work. Fix, define boundary plus consequence that you control. I won't respond after 6 p.m. If you ping me, I'll reply at 9 a.m. Enforce consistently for 2 weeks. Reality learns slowly. Your job is repetition, not convincing. Pitfall, metrics drift. Why it happens. You slide back into vibe-based grading because numbers feel confronting. Fix. Lock 2 dumb metrics per behavior with a witness. Example. On time / within 5 / late. Repair within 48 hours y/n. Review Fridays for 5 minutes. If you argue with scores, change behavior, not the rubric. Pitfall. Bypass creep. Why it happens. Sacred language sneaks back to avoid grief and limits. Fix. Schedule the grief. 10 minutes, tissues ready, then one concrete next action with a date. The pairing keeps depth while preventing dodge. Pitfall. Overprocessing in pods. Why it happens. Accountability spaces drift into group therapy. Fix. Format discipline. Receipts only, then a single "was this helpful?" from witnesses. If talk expands, use a kitchen timer. When it dings, move. Pitfall. All or nothing weeks. Why it happens. One miss cascades into "I blew it." So you quit until next Monday. Fix. Rolling start. Every day is day one. If you miss a rep, run the pre-committed repair and do the smallest visible action within 60 minutes. Momentum beats motivation. If you remember nothing else from this section, integration equals receipts, not revelations. When in doubt, ask, what's the smallest public action I can schedule in the next 72 hours? Then do it under a 90-second window and let someone affected score it. That's how you keep moving when your brain wants to philosophize. Key takeaway. If your healing doesn't become boring, predictable behaviors others can feel, it's ego training, not integration. Run the 30-day integration sprint and track one measurable change in a real relationship this month. Then watch the Advanced Repair First deep dive linked next to lock in your system. Subscribe for weekly practice drills and no-fluff psychology you can use on Tuesday.